Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Stygian. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today, because we are hopefully going to go upstairs. Last episode we got a bunch of quests done. We're actually doing very good progress. For me, I'm not, because I spend a lot of time off camera. Well, I spent a lot of time off camera trying to look for the way forward, and we found it, so it's all good. You find Sonya showing Marino a picture and asking in a distressed voice whether he has seen a man named Randolph Carter. We found the person we were looking for. Look at that. I didn't even have to look for her off camera, because we saw her on camera last episode at the end. Excuse me, but I met Randolph Carter. You have? Oh, please do tell. Her words are cut off by an impertinent Marino. A senora of high standards, such as yourself, shouldn't pay attention to a man who can barely pay for my services. Mr. Know-it-all here probably wants to squeeze you, that's all. Excuse me, Marino, please, what? It's rude to interrupt a lady, Marino. Now, ignoring you, Marino interrupts yet again. Well, sorry, senora. Well, allow me to serve you our finest liqueur. He pours whiskey from the bottle. His face is very familiar, actually. Let me look at that picture again. Filling her glass, Marino throws you a mean gaze. Sonya is looking straight at you as if her life depends on what you're about to tell her. So did you really see my Randolph? I did indeed, miss. In the queerest way imaginable. She looks perplexed, but intrigued. Then if I am to believe you, sir, you must provide some details about him. Oh, easy. White chin, thin lips, and wore a silk jacket, green bow tie, and vest. Oh, well, yes. Very accurate. He used to wear that for special occasions, just as he did to the journalists' convention where we met. So strange. Were you acquainted with him before? No, madam, though I felt a vague affinity toward him. Oh, so what was he doing? Or where was he going? Did he tell you anything else apart from his name? Actually, he didn't tell me about his name. Can I say that? He was about to enter an old abandoned house somewhere in Arkham. Yeah, let's go with that. She shudders, and her eyes become teary. Just like he wrote in his last letter. Oh, he's here. He must be alive then. How did he communicate with you? And why you instead of me, I wonder? Well, it all remains a mystery to me, Mrs. Carter. And also, I didn't tell her how he communicated with me. Yet. Finally, a single tear of happiness glides down her cheek. I'm Sonya H. Green Carter. Thank you for sharing this with me, Mr. My name is Hamilton Bottomworth. Nice to meet you as well, Sonya. Can you help me find him, then? There must have been a reason for Randolph to meet you. If I follow you... She's the one! She's the one that showed up in the cutscenes, not cutscenes, the loading screen. I was gonna say something about a loading screen before, because I noticed there was the outsider, and there was a character that is supposed to be our character. And then there was a woman to the left side over here, and that's her. You see a gunslinger? Hopefully not. There must be a reason for Randolph, she says, to meet you. If I follow you, would you be kind enough to take me to that house? Of course, Sonya. I'll be glad if I can be of any assistance. She's taken by surprise. I believe that's what's meant by that. Oh, thank you. But I don't mean to derail you from your obligations, whatever they may be. Are you sure I won't be a drawback? Not at all, Sonya. That's very courteous of you. There's very little kindness left in this world. Shall we? And we shall indeed. Companion joined. Sonya Green Carter. Heck yeah. Heck to the yeah. And she has a level up. Maybe? Keys don't work as you would expect. It's weird. Yeah. She is a firearms specialist. Is she an actual specialist in that? She has investigation. That's kind of good. I wonder if I can use her to investigate things. And she has that's an ability. Okay. So I'm going to give her firearms psychology. What's that? The skill of sensing the motives of others, conducting mental therapies, and studying neurotic phenomena. I could give a little bit of survival. We can figure that out later. +1 physical defense. Sonya deceivingly fires a pistol shot at her opponent, reducing their reaction values. Available at optimal range. Hopefully that is going to be powerful. There's another level up. Is there another level up? There is another level up. Quite interesting. So her investigation, hopefully we'll be able to use her for things. Sensing danger and finding subtle connections. Locating hidden objects. Yeah, that sounds amazing. We can give her a little bit of survival. And hopefully he doesn't have survival. Okay, that's pretty good. She's an investigator, just as I am. No, I'm a criminal. She is humanistic. Okay, I sold my books. It's just bad. And she's a milliner. Her background. Sonya is a traveling saleswoman. That's plural version of saleswoman. She's saleswoman. Who finds herself in the company of books more than most other things, which attract the attention of women her age. Middle-aged. So, I wouldn't know. Let's see. So she doesn't come with a pistol. I do have an Aspera .22. So that's kind of badass. Let's see what this is. So this is a 4 to 6 on a handling of 0. This is a 2 to 4. Okay. What is that? That's 22. Okay, 22 ammo. Can we? Thank you. I see. Not that. Perfect. As for you, you have your hands. Indeed. Okay. We're good. This is pretty good. Can I go to the attic? It is occupied. And a ration was consumed. I am upset that that is occupied. Let's see. Can I control her? I can't control her. Let's talk to her. Sonya is displaying her usual inattentiveness. That sounds not like her. As her hazy eyes gaze into the unknown in a state of abstraction. What do you think about this poem? I'm going to show her the poem you found inside the Bank of Arkham. Her abstractedness yields... That's a word. Yields to an immediate astonishment. This is nothing short of amazing. It displays a characteristic not unlike texts of Egyptian theosophism, perhaps heralding a dark prophecy. It reflects a devilish mischievousness, which reminds me of Randolph's own crypticisms that are so abundant in his works. It also seems to be written in a dense, almost blood-like ink. Sonya is displaying her usual inattentiveness. Okay, let's go back to that. Okay. And then we have Eduardo over here. He might leave us. It's good that we have 4 people, though. That's kind of good. And I cannot talk to these people. Okay. Well, we didn't need to come here. I mean, we did, but that was the whole thing that I was talking about last episode. Okay, what's going on? Turkish Zest is the name on the door. And we have the shop, Richter's Drugstore. There's people out here. None of them are particularly... None of them are important. I'm gonna go into the drugstore because we might have things here, but specifically because I can sell things and buy things, especially bullets. Do you happen to own something that would help with a symptom called the phantom pain? He thinks about your request for a while. Actually, I have an old dusty mirror box in the back. It comes in handy once in a while. 30 cigs, and it's yours. Sure. Here you go. The man disappears for a while and returns with the box in hand. Here you go. The comfort this thing provides, I would equate with giving a flower to that person. I think I know what that is. I've seen a movie where there is... I don't know if... It's probably a very, very commonplace thing. Like in fiction. And possibly in real life. We'll see about that. So, let's see your stock. That's my mirror box. Okay. Oh, it actually sells for more than it... Okay, that's pretty good. So, the way it works is you put your arm in there, and then the mirror will reflect your arm, and you can look at the mirror as if it were your other arm. And I saw a movie with... Or a TV series, maybe. With that. And it was a very emotional sort of moment by the time... 4 rations, yeah. So by the time that ended up happening. So he's got good prices, so I could sell him some of my stuff. Like Cocavine Marie, which is really, really powerful. But I do want to buy rations, which he doesn't have. He doesn't have rations, the jerk. It's not here that you buy rations. Okay, we're going back to the inn then. Was it in the hotel? No, it wasn't the inn. I didn't notice when I clicked the man with the missing arm. I didn't notice that he was missing an arm. Ultimately, I think this game would benefit. I can understand why you can't zoom in, but I think the game would benefit from zooming in. Possibly, it's a matter of the way it's drawn and just not having enough resolution for the drawings. But he is missing an arm. You can see that. Yeah. Huh. It's not the most elegant way of having that cuff, you know, not hanging out. He ceases his agonizing for a short while to look over at you. Have you found a way to make the pain go, or are you just stalling me off? No, this should help with your pain. I don't know if we're gonna be able to figure it out, but maybe he knows what's up. You place the mirror device on the table and adjust it to display a symmetrical reflection of Wilkins' intact arm. Well, there you go. That is... my character knows what to do with that. Because we weren't instructed. It was like, what the heck am I supposed to do with this? You can see from his face that the persistent tension that's been bothering him is already fading. Well, that was a lot less emotionally gratifying than the movie that I think I saw. I'm gonna give him some time to get himself together. Even though there's allusions to that sort of emotional impact. That feels so much better. The itching it's gone. How strange that the brain can be deceived with such a simple trick. Thanks, sir. Much appreciated. Yeah, that also makes no sense. Did you scratch your own arm? What the heck? That's not... Sure. Yep, absolutely, you're welcome. He takes a big sip of cheap whiskey. Fire away, I owe you now. Now, let's talk about the Arkham Stabber. He lets out a deep breath. So you want to know about the Stabber? Your choice. You still got 4 limbs after all. He forces himself to concentrate. When I was on the case, the Stabber was targeting mob members. And naturally, this was the attention of Waxface. This got the attention of Waxface. If you kill the king's men, the king comes after you, right? The Stabber was a threat to his authority. Somebody pissing in his backyard. So his men hired me to find the killer. Oh. Where did you start? With the victims. What were their names? He clumsily pulls out an old notebook and finds a torn page inside. Salvador, Abel, and no one important. Clueless, fresh recruits for the mob, that's all. Then I looked into how they were killed, and that proved interesting indeed. The wounds all pointed to one thing, a sword, and a big one with a broad blade. Pierced those fellas dozens of times until they were human colanders. I know what that is. I know what a colorant is. Yay. I've seen a lot in this profession, but that was ferocious. Salvador and Abel, I remember those names. They were registered at the hotel with Julian, the last victim. That's interesting. Wilkins lights a cigarette. Finally, we may have found a pattern. So these 3 came to the hotel together. The next question is, are they all dead? Well, a man called Killen was also mentioned in the register. Then we can assume the murders won't stop until this Killen fella gets a few more breathing holes. Unless, and with a puff he adds a miniature grey cloud to the already obnoxious air of the ill, he himself is the Stabber. Oh. What makes you think that? Think about it. Riff-raff arriving from out of town, probably into some shady business, and when the deed is done, they turn on each other like rabid dogs. I've seen it happen before. Whatever the truth is, you should keep an eye out for this Killen fella. He may be the key to all this. I will do. What else have we got on this case? You know, I have to admit that you're not too bad at this. When you started asking questions, I wasn't expecting much, and that's why I kept my trap shut in my real leads. No offense, but I prefer not to point my finger at suspects, especially after seeing how brutal the mob can be. I know this is a bad habit. Work ethics can cost you an arm in this place. Are you going to tell me how you lost your arm? You really like to play the detective, don't you? I was like you once, intrigued by the motivations of the people, curious about how they think and behave. A black shadow falls over his eyes. But there are some things you shouldn't be curious about, and some people. Wilkins takes a deep drag from his cigarette. As I mentioned, after some time on the case, I had a few strong suspects. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't hold the facts together to make a concrete accusation. I didn't have enough evidence, and the detective's curse was all over me. Indecisiveness. Sometime later, I was summoned to the court of Waxface. He looks around before continuing in a whisper. Seeing that fucker in person almost gave me a heart attack. He asked me the identity of the stabber. In the end, I didn't give him a name. Instead, I gathered my courage to ask for more time. I guaranteed I would find the killer soon. He seemed to be listening at first, and asked me one thing in the end. One fucking question, right or left? I didn't get it. I was too nervous. So the cold-blooded bastard continued. His flat, motionless face, beastly eyes. Something was plainly wrong. Evil. You hear me? He said, I'll show you how simple it is to make a decision. Your right arm or your left. To remind me not to be indecisive again when it came to his requests. Pure frustration is rising inside the man. I had to choose fast, or I would lose both. He shuts his eyes as if experiencing the pain once again. So I chose, he finally snaps. Fuck this case, and fuck the day I became a bloody detective. Well, I'm sorry, Wilkins, you did the right thing. Right. And all it cost me was my right arm. Nuts. Now tell me about these suspects of yours. I had 3 good trails, but they all went cold. My first suspect was a redskin called, Ujatal? I assume he's referring to, a Native American. I don't know the names. It could also be an Asian person from India, maybe? Yeah, evidently it's the color of the skin here, but the name doesn't sound, well, what do I know about Native American names? I don't know very much. But yeah, that doesn't sound very Native American. Ujatal, probably. The other was a magician called Horatio, and lastly I had a witness, a mute girl. Oh. Who's the let's go by order. I think we're gonna be able to come back and ask more. Tell me about this Ujatal. He's this crazy Indian. I was gonna say I knew it. He's an Indian. Well, yeah, that's the problem. Most likely he's not from India. He's referring to Native Americans here, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, he's this crazy Indian who believes he's continuing the ways of his ancestors, formed his own tribe in Dead Willows after everything went to hell, a shanty town of stinking tents. And in fact, it would make sense that it would be a Native American. A very common trope not trope, I guess, but a staple, I guess, of Lovecraft's writing is, well, generally people of color as magical. He was super racist, so it's like that sort of trope. It's pretty common there. But basically every time you see a person of color in his writing, it's either depicted as savages or magical and super scary. So this is probably where we're going with that. It's a very common thing. And I don't know if there's any story specifically about that. I remember reading one of Lovecraft's stories where it's basically them going to an island in the middle of the Pacific, and they meet the native people there. And there was a witch, or a witch doctor. Either way, it's super vivid. The descriptions, that particular short story was super vivid on the descriptions of everything that went on. And yeah, the description was the highlight. The descriptions of the monsters and the people, the evil people, because they were all evil in the story. And that was definitely the highlight for that short story for me. Excuse me. But the thing is, it might be like a staple. Like, for example, Arkham is a staple, and the Potomac, the river, and all that sort of stuff. It's just straight out of Lovecraft. Ujatal is a savage, and again, words. Yeah, so basically, that's all in lore, I suppose, and very much in time as well, with a whole racist attitude towards Native Americans. Ujatal is a savage son of a bitch, excuse my language, too eager to use his machete on anyone he defines as a white oppressor, especially mob people. Motive? Check. Potential murder weapon? Check. I'd pay him a visit if I were you, but you've been warned, mister. He's awful protective about his territory. He prefers to let that machete do the talking. Yeah. I don't really need see. He's just saying, I know this Indian savage. It's the Indians, and then he's basically that's a suspect. Sounds pretty straightforward. Then to see what's going on here. So what about the dead willows? He draws a circle on your map. It used to be a resort area along the Miskatonic. That's the one. That's the river. Along the Miskatonic, full of white willow trees. Fancy place. You don't need to be a detective to guess why it's called Dead Willows these days. Yeah. So tell me about Horatio. Did he say that that's where he lives, in the Dead Willows? I missed that, because I think it was at the beginning of a sentence. Yeah, tell me about Horatio. Horatio, the Magnificent, they used to call him. I saw nothing magnificent about the man, though. A total wreck. He was pretty vocal about his hate for Waxface. Suicidal, right? Horatio had all the motive to go after some mobster blood, and I know he used old-fashioned swords in his show. You know, the coffin and the blades and nonsense like that. Is he alive? The last time I saw him, he was staying in room number 203 in the Essex Hotel. Considering his suicidal tendencies, might be a good idea to get your ass over there in a hurry. Yeah, I will go right away. And in fact, I think I knocked on that door. And basically nobody, so they just said to go away. So what about the mute girl you mentioned? Donna the Mute. No. Donna the Mute. No, that's not what it is. Donna the Mute is what the other tunnel kids call her. She wasn't always mute, so I heard. They say she became like that after witnessing the murder of Abel. Abel? Sure, whatever. The eyes on that little girl. Looking at the same dreadful moment no one else could see. I tried everything, but could never get her to talk. Well, if she's mute, well, this guy. I keep clicking on that because I wanted to show the previous lines. But you can't do that. So where can I find this kid? If you think you can do better, be my guest. She lives with the other orphans in the collapsed train tunnel in the northeast part of French Hill. Yeah, I better go. I have a murderer to find. And you still have 2 arms, pal. You owe old Wilkins a drink, don't forget that. Good hunting. Do I now? I don't. What? I need a drink. No, I don't, but at least he sells beans. So I will buy... Oh, that's not what I wanted. Pressing escape should really not exit this screen right away. It should, yeah, we have 5 now. It should exit the pop-up. Super unintuitive, actually. I mean, I can get used to it, but I'm gonna keep making that mistake time and again. Okay. Gives me the creeps. We're gonna get out. Don't look at it, then. Okay. I feel comfortable. We have a posse of 4 people. My sanity is kind of okay. We have some bullets. And yes, there's the symbol of death over there. But it's not a symbol of death. It's a symbol of... I actually don't know what that symbol is of. It's a very common symbol. But, in the Lovecraft lore. But, I don't know what it is of. I remember the first time I saw it, and in fact, the first time I ever got in contact with Lovecraft, with HP Lovecraft and this setting and whatnot, was with a game called The Dark Corners of the Earth. Well, rather, Call of Cthulhu, The Dark Corners of the Earth. That's the one. Leave me alone. I just need a few questions answered. Questions about what? the Arkham Stabber. What does this have to do with me? That's not a question. He didn't put a question mark. The man takes a deep breath, sobbing breath before continuing. You listen to me. There's a ruthless killer in this town. Yes. Just to finish that storyline, that random offshoot about the Dark Corners of the Earth. Fantastic game, by the way. You should definitely check it out if you can get it to run on new computers, which is a difficult thing. And in that game, that symbol, that little star, is the place where you can save your game. It appears painted on walls, and you can use it to save the game. And that's the first time I saw it. And since then, I've recognized it, and it is a symbol, a holy symbol of unholy symbol. That's very important. The distinction there in HP Lovecraft's writing. Let's see what he says. There's a ruthless killer in this town, yes, and he is worse than that. He's the king of all of Arkham's murderers. You know who I'm speaking of, that black-hearted, wax-faced son of a bitch. Now go ahead and point a finger on me. I don't care who hears me say it. He's a son of a bitch. Huh. Well, I guess those are fighting words, and words to end the episode by or as things. Yeah. So that's gonna be that for right now. I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Stygian. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye bye.